Hello, y'all. Today makes 15 years since my dad passed away. And sorry, I'm out here looking crazy. I've been working all day. As God would have it, I had to work today, and I'm also studying. And it dawned on me, God has been answering my prayer of like, I don't want to be like overcome with sadness about my dad being gone. But this is something I feel like those of us in the grieving process need to talk about. The never evers, the things we'll never get. And I want to talk about it because I want us to have that safe space that I feel like it's falling. I want to have that freedom to acknowledge that the one of the most difficult parts of grieving is that, you have to mourn things that you won't get. And this was especially hard for me because all I could think about every time I had to go somewhere, like having to go to the hospital or going to funerals or going to weddings or when I had my son, like all the memories I don't get to have. Like, I don't get to have the memory of my dad walking me down the aisle. I don't get to have the memory of my dad meeting my son. I'm very grateful that my grandfather was still alive when my son was born, and he was able to. I have pictures of him holding my son. But as God would have it, my grandfather died the day after my son turned a year old. Um, but I'm at this space now where, while it still hurts every so often when it crosses my mind, man, my dad will never get to see me do this, or he'll never get to see that. I'm at the space now where I'm grateful that, you know, while at the time, like when this was fresh, life came to a standstill for me. Everybody else's life was moving and going and doing and whatever. My life came to a standstill. And I'm grateful to now be past that I've gone on to embrace my new normal of life without my dad, life without my grandfather. And, there have been like several other family members that passed on since now. And I'm grateful, to be able to like say, even though I hurt and there's this void in my heart, that my dad being gone and my grandfather being gone, um, there's this void in my heart from their absence. My eyes are so dry from the weather. Um, I am grateful that I've been able to make new memories and get new anchor points that, I wasn't stuck in the sadness, that I couldn't move forward with life and go on to be happy since then. Because sometimes in the grieving process, it's easy to get stuck in that space. You get stuck in the grief. And like, I had a perfect visual for me was I was in the middle of a storm and I was sitting still. So, think about the eye of a hurricane, how it's calm and still. But the winds, life was churning around me, life was moving beyond me, everybody was moving on, and I was standing still. I was stuck. And, those very feelings also affected me as far as, walking out and embracing my ministry call, because I just felt stuck. Like, I felt like, the grief, the hurt, and the pain that I had, I couldn't really move forward because I needed to deal with it. But now being on the other side, or, further along in my journey, I should say, of grief and grieving, I'm grateful to be able to make memories on the other side. Like, today, I haven't really made much of a memory. I've been working all day long. Um, I'm grateful for the people and the blessings that God has sent into my life to help make the help me grow beyond the grief. Like, yes, the void is still there, but I've grown bigger than the void. And so it's not like this. It's not like the Grand Canyon. Perfect example. So we think about how large and expansive the Grand Canyon is at, from our perspective as human beings, to this big chasm, this big expanse. But in the beginning of your grief process is very much like that. Like, you don't know how you're going to get to the other side. And the beautiful thing is that God will send people to walk alongside you. That's why I'm very grateful, eternally grateful for my friends and my family, and, now my child, and now my boyfriend. I'm eternally grateful to have these people in my life to help um, me to grow up and grow bigger than this large expanse. Like, it started out as big as the Grand Canyon, and it's now like, I don't know, I guess I could walk over it now. Like, if it would be as if a bridge has been built over it and I'm bigger. Or even, if you think about like a crack in the ground, like, I can step over it. Like, sometimes if I'm not paying attention, like, if there's a crack in the ground, I could trip up on it. And that's how grief is. Like, you'll have days and moments when you get tripped up or you get caught up in the pain, and it's okay to feel it. Like, it's a journey. You're now establishing a new normal. And for me, that's exactly where I'm at. Like, I've established a new normal. I do have my moments of sadness. Like, I thought for a second, I miss my dad. I miss my granddad. And, I'm grateful to be able to have a new, renewed perspective on grieving. And this is not to rush anybody, like, not to rush you in your grieving process, because that's your process. It's personal. It's between you and God and whoever God has put in your life to walk through it with you. But the beautiful thing is, God is big enough to feel our most intense emotions. And if we're fortunate, God will send people who can walk alongside us and help to carry the burdens with us as we walk through our grieving process. So that's my blessing for today, to recognize that, God has blessed me to be able to, it's no longer this thing I didn't think I could get past. It's now, something I can step over at times, and something that can trip me up at times. And I'm grateful for the memories and the people that I've been able to bring into my life because of the work that I had to do regarding healing and mourning and grieving the loss of my dad and, my granddad. And my dad would have been turning 64 this year. And my granddaddy would have been turning, how old would granddaddy would have been turning? I think, so it's 2025. I think he would have been turning 97 this year. I think he would have been making 97. So, yeah, I just want to share that. Like, as we continue to grow and move through life, the voids that are left behind by our loved ones, they don't get smaller. We grow bigger. We get bigger. And we get bigger, and we get the ability to walk through it or over it. And there are people that God sends along our path to help us to be able to go through that journey. So, yeah, that's it.